Okay, guys, before I get into this particular video about sex, I wanted to talk about murders, like murder news and that sort of thing. Okay, now, suppose if someone kills three people, they just kill them, and they said, well, it just happened. It just happened. I couldn't control myself. I just felt like killing them. I just killed three people because I couldn't control myself. And they tell the judge that. And the judge let them off. What do you think will happen? Comment down below. Comment down below. Let me know what you think will happen if somebody murders three people and a judge, because they said things just happened, I felt like murdering them, and they just go. Three people are killed and families are affected. What do you think will happen? Comment down below. I think there will be outrage, just complete outrage. Okay, now I'm going to get into this video. The reason I'm making this particular video because I just had a discussion with someone, which was kind of an emotional discussion about sex. Yes, about sex. And this particular discussion was, we were talking about sex, and we were talking about like different things about sex. We had this previous conversation before, about having, your boyfriend or your girlfriend, you have sex with them. Okay. Now, we're like talking about different things about like sex. And then we also talked about previously about courting and things like that, and waiting until marriage in order to have sex. And this person was like, oh, that's lame, that's dumb, why would you wait until marriage to have sex? You got to find out if you're like sexually compatible with this person. You have to find out, if y'all are good in bed together. Okay, here's my take on it. Okay, now, I can see where they're coming from with this. And, we were discussing this back and forth. And my whole thing is, okay, if you're going to do this type of thing, why base your relationship? Because pretty much that's what you're saying when you say that you have to know. Why base your relationship just on this particular thing? Why base it on that? And then some people say, well, I have to. I can't control myself. Okay, just like I talked about in the previous clip about the murder news. If a murderer said, well, I couldn't control myself, I just had to do it. They deserve it. I couldn't control myself. And the judge just let them go. They done killed three people. There will be outrage. This is kind of like the same thing. Having sex before marriage, there's like so many things that can happen. You become pregnant, and if you can't afford the child, you'll be in poverty. There's like so many things that can happen. So many things. God forbid you can get a disease, which, some people, apparently must like to be sick, because, some people just don't care about that. They're going to do it anyway. Well, if I get sick, I can just go to the doctor and, the doctor will handle it. That's how some people view it. And, some people say, well, it's good, it's good. I have to do this or whatever like that. Some people, they're like, well, I'm not going to wait because that's dumb. That's dumb. Why are you going to wait? And all this stuff. I even had this recent discussion with this guy. Basically, he was like, and I explained to him about one of my friends. She said that she loves God. And her husband, they waited. Because they love God. And he was like, well, I love God, but I'm not going to wait. And so basically, someone else, I was discussing this with someone else, and they basically said, well, he's rejecting God because of that. you know, and it's unfortunately in this society, a lot of people say, especially now, they say, well, this is not 1950 anymore. This is not 1950 anymore. I don't want to get married. I just want to, sleep around. I don't want to get married. I just want to do what I want to do. I don't want to get married. This is not 1950s anymore. And, people just do whatever they want to do, because it feels good at the time. They don't want to wait. They don't want to be patient. You can tell society has changed because, people don't have patience anymore. They just want to do what they want to do, how they feel about certain things, and just do whatever. Just want to do whatever, because it's good at the time. And I will leave in the description box some information for y'all to read and some links. You can tell also how society has changed. The magazines, you go to any store and see the newsstands, and there's like other different newsstands that, people, you're looking at different magazines, and they're like, oh, well, this is how we can have good, some good, get some good, and they have like different titles about how you can do it, where you can get it from, good, good sex, and just having this, and you can just tell by the magazines and the movies that, everything is geared toward, oh, how to feel good, how to do this, how to do that. And unfortunately, that's how society is now. And they're like, well, it's not 1950s anymore, and all this stuff. And I know I may lose some subscribers because of this video, because that's how it is. And I probably get a lot of thumbs down on this video, because people are like, they aren't patient, they don't wait. There's like a lot of single moms out here because of this. A lot of single moms, unfortunately, because of this situation of I'm not waiting, and then you date, 2 months later she gets pregnant. She's pregnant, the guy leaves. I had this happen to a friend of mine. Her boyfriend, they were living together now. They were living together. The day that she told him, he left. He left his clothes, everything, in the house. She was paying the mortgage. She was about 8 months pregnant. He still hadn't come and got his stuff. She had to call her dad to come get his stuff. He had left her pregnant. And now she's taking care of her son now, all alone. And, I didn't have a father. I never even met my father, never seen a picture of him or anything. And, some people, courting is important versus there's a difference between courting and dating. And y'all can look up here on YouTube about courting. And, there's a difference between, making love and having sex. There's a difference. And, unfortunately, people want the latter. They don't want the making love part. They want the latter. They're like going from person to person to person, and yet they're hurting themselves. They're very like, whatever, I do what I want to do, and that sort of thing. Now, y'all know I don't normally make videos like this but I'm doing it today because of the discussion that I just had with someone that, they're like, well, I'm not waiting, and basically, and it was with a guy, and a lot of guys say, well, whatever, I do what I want to do, don't know how, sexually compatible you are with a person until you have sex. Hey, you can pray. You can pray to have good sex. You can pray about it. But people don't think about that. They're like, whatever. Like, what if you get married, and the day after you get married, the person gets cancer, and they're so sick that they can't have sex? What are you going to do? You going to leave them? Actually, I know someone that actually did that. They left their wife the day after they got diagnosed with cancer. Yes, unfortunately that happens. But it's unfortunate how society has changed over the years. You know, and how things have gone, and how there's like so many single moms out there, and it seems like the government just rewards people being a single mom these days. It's like, yeah, a thumbs up, but if you're doing, trying to do, at least trying to do the right thing, no one's perfect, it's like looked down upon. People roll their eyes at you and things like that, and it's sad, and I probably lose some subscribers because I'm talking about this, but oh well. It's unfortunate how, things are now. Very, very, very unfortunate. It's like, people just want to do what they want to do. I have my boyfriend, I have my girlfriend, I'm going to have sex with them. No matter what, if they get pregnant, oh well. If I get sick, oh well. Just so be it. If I get a disease, oh well. So be it. I can go to the doctor. I might not have health insurance. Oh well. I like to have expensive bills. Oh well, and it's sad that people look at it that way. They like, oh, I have to find out if I'm sexually compatible. That's what the guy was telling me this morning. I have to find out if I can satisfy them. I'm not going to wait and all this stuff. Fine, if that's your take. Everybody has their opinion. If that's your take on things. It's unfortunate, how things are, and then like sometimes people, when they do sleep around, they don't even use a condom. They don't use condoms or anything like that. They just do whatever they want to do, and just be like whatever. They just do what they want to do. Hey, I want y'all to comment down below and let me know your thoughts on this situation. About the single parents, like high rates of pregnancy. Other countries can even weigh in what their thoughts are. And this is not about a religion thing. Some people say, well, only religious people wait until marriage. Even atheists wait. Atheists, yes, wait. So it's not like, oh, it's some big religious thing. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. And y'all comment down below and let me know about what your thoughts are. Like I said, I normally don't make videos about this sort of thing, but I had to weigh in because this was like very heavy in my mind. And I had just had the discussion with this guy, and he was like, no, I'm not going to wait, it's lame, it's dumb, why would I wait? I have to know if I'm compatible, I have to know about being satisfied, I have to know if I satisfy that person, why would you wait? I'm not waiting until marriage and all this stuff, and basically people go from relationships and they sleep well with another person. They go to another relationship, basically one person, and then they don't think about soul ties. I had never heard of soul ties until about a year ago. People started talking about soul ties, and I was like, I never even heard of that. But y'all can go look that up about soul ties and that sort of thing. I'll try to leave some information down below in the description box for you guys. Just let me know about. What are your thoughts on this whole situation? Just let me know about what are your thoughts is about courting, dating, just sleeping around, getting diseases, liking expensive bills because you did get sick because of someone else. I've even known like family members to even get sick, and like friends, that have died of diseases because they just slept around, and they just didn't care, and now unfortunately it's been over 10 years now and they still are affected by that particular disease. They have to pop pills a lot and things like that. So it's unfortunate about different people that do certain things like that, and everybody keeps saying, well, marriage isn't for everybody. Well, it's not. It's not. But I agree with that. It's not for everyone. You have to be mature in order to be in a marriage. In marriage, it's more than sex. It's more than sex. Marriage is more than sex. And, there's so much commitment and things that goes into marriage that people don't even look at. They just look at, well, I have to live with this person before I get married. I have to have sex with them before I get married and all this. People just don't look at that. And y'all just comment down below and let me know what y'all think. And I know some people are going to be like, oh, whatever, I'm going to just do what I want to do. And just like the murder analogy I had, there's like, right now it's like chaotic in our society with like single mothers, just a whole lot of other things, poverty. If you can't take care of your children, like if you have like 3 and 4 children by different men or by different women, if you can't take care of them, then essentially you may be in poverty. You might be really poor, and you can't take care of them. And it's unfortunate that things like that happen, but it does happen. And I've been seeing a lot of that been happening over the last 3 years. Unfortunately, it's been like that. So, a lot of people think, oh, I can just do what I want to do. It's not 1950s. Marriage, being married, having a marriage contract, it's just a piece of paper. It's just a piece of paper. But marriage, is law, and there's like protections and benefits with marriage, and that sort of thing. There's a lot of benefits and things with marriage, that you don't get with just living with someone and not being married with them. Yes, you can fill out a lot of paperwork if you're living with someone to get some similar benefits, but why even go through all that paperwork when you can just be married, So, people don't think about, if they're living with someone and that person all of a sudden they die. And this happened to some of my family members. The guy left the house and everything to, his children from previous relationship, and they didn't get anything, unfortunately. So that goes to show you they have been living together for like 16 years, and they've never been married. And as soon as he died, he left his children something, didn't leave her anything. And it's like, okay, so how is it? Did they really love each other? Was it just, all about, sexual compatibility and sex? So, people don't think about that. And y'all let me know down below what y'all think. I probably lose a lot of subscribers because of this, but unfortunately, that's how it is. But y'all let me know what your thoughts are about courting, dating, and, sex and waiting for sex until marriage and that sort of thing. Y'all let me know what your thoughts are about that down below in the comment section about that sort of thing. And like I said about the murder analogy, there's consequences to breaking different laws. There's regular laws that man have, and there's laws that God has. And you have to like figure out, and like some people say, well, I don't believe in God. Well, okay, well, I'm not even going to get into a religious debate on this particular video. But yeah, just comment down below about, what your thoughts are on this particular subject. Even if you're like atheist, let me know, what your thoughts are on this particular subject. Like I said, that's why, I compare, there's like consequences. And like the murder situation I talked about in the beginning of this video, there are consequences, to different things. Like I said, people will be outraged. So y'all let me know, just like it's chaotic now with single parents, poverty, people just don't care, people being selfish, they don't think about their children. Children are affected by, this sort of behavior, and being a single parent, they don't have the other parent around, people say, oh, they'll be alright, but, it's like there's long-term effects to that, and I can make a whole nother video on that, hour-long video on that, but I'm not even going to discuss that in this particular video. But y'all let me know what y'all think down below in the comment section, okay? Let me know in the comment section. Alright, y'all just let me know what y'all thoughts are on this subject down in the comment section below. Alright, y'all have a great day.